Hey, what's going on everyone? So it's been a couple weeks since my last video, and that was definitely a well-needed break, but I couldn't stay away much longer at a time like this, and that of course being the official launch week for next gen, and obviously it's an extremely exciting time for all video game lovers out there, and more so for the lucky ones I guess that were able to get their hands on one of the consoles, because I know it's been just a mess to try and secure a pre-order and now any kind of order for one. Fortunately, I was able to pre-order a PS5 back when the initial pre-orders went live, and it arrived early on Thursday, and I've just absolutely been loving everything about it. And so without wasting any more time here, as you can see, I'm here to talk about Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is the second game in the Marvel Spider-Man series, the first having released in 2018, and these games were both developed by Insomniac. Miles Morales was one of the few launch titles for the PS5, and it was easily the one that I was most excited for, and I jumped right into it as soon as I was able to. The game is something of a spin-off from the first Spider-Man game, but it does continue that narrative from where the first one ended, and also from some of the stuff that happened in the DLC that led right into Miles becoming Spider-Man. This game starts you off with a recap to let you know just exactly where things are coming into this story, and we see that it's been 1 year after the events that took place at the end of the last game, and Miles has been training with Peter to mold into this new role as Spider-Man. Him and his mom have also moved to Harlem after that tragic death of his dad, and his mom is now running for city council. And this all leads into an extremely fun and, in my opinion, jaw-dropping opening sequence that really felt like a proper introduction to the new generation of gaming that we're all about to be diving into. And the game itself doesn't take these giant leaps over the first game as some graphical powerhouse or anything like that, but it does introduce you to some of the new features that we can come to expect, and maybe not the most important of those, but one that I really loved right away was the haptic feedback from the new DualShock controller. Again, this might really be looked at as a minor thing, but after playing through this entire game and going back to the PS4 controller and also the Xbox controller, this haptic feedback from the DualShock controller, this PS5 controller, is something that I think you can already tell is going to set this new standard for gaming. I'm sure there's some that will find it distracting maybe, but I thought it added a really cool dynamic to everything going on in the game, and it made it just that much more immersive of an experience all the time. It gave this really cool feeling whenever you would swing through the city and sort of feel the web shooting out, or whenever there was intense combat going on. It really just made it feel like this was something new, and I really loved the potential that this the haptic feedback for the controller has for all PlayStation games going forward. Visually, the game also looks incredible pretty much the entire time. When you're swinging through the city, it might mostly feel like you're just back to playing that 2018 Spider-Man, but with a new character, and that's fine, when there's more cinematic moments, when those do happen in the game, and also at specific points of the game when it's showing off Miles' abilities. I think there is a clear visual upgrade from the previous game, and seeing the advancement from then to now is really, really great. It also feels like we're at a point now where cutscenes and cinematics are kind of blending into, the actual gameplay. They're blending into each other in such a seamless way that only gets more impressive with each new release. The first game that made me really aware of that was The Last of Us Part 2, and some close-up shots in this game, like the part that was shown in that first gameplay footage where Miles and Genki are walking through Harlem, is really stunning to look at. And there are so many moments like that flooded in this game. And as for the gameplay itself, it's also very similar to the original, but I really don't think that's a big problem here. There was enough variety with the abilities specific to Miles that made it feel fresh, and honestly, I just love the combat in these Spider-Man games so much that I don't think it really needed to be changed at all in the first place. I mean, sure, it can sometimes feel like a rinse and repeat cycle, but I still never felt bored with it at any time. The complaint I might have is that maybe the gadgets Miles has are, not as fun as the ones that Peter had, but that's barely even a complaint at all. The unique swinging animations particular to Miles were always a lot of fun to look at, and it was the perfect way to just subtly shake it up from Peter's swing, and it just adds a lot to Miles' personality, and I love that there is so much of that, the Spiderverse DNA, the Into the Spiderverse DNA also thrown into this game that gives the literal Spiderverse that we kind of have right now in real life with all the different movies and now games coming out. It all makes it feel really connected in a way. And I really love the look of Miles' suits. I won't show some of them, some of the more surprising ones just in case you haven't seen them already, but there are some here that are just perfect. But really, I think the most important aspect of this game is going to be the story. I loved everything that they did with the story in this. Miles is just such an extremely likable character, and the voice actor does a really great job to show all those different aspects of his personality, and especially his emotions, you know, as different things happen to him throughout the game. His friends Genki and Finn are also great as well, and also his mom. And Genki is really the one that you hear from the most as he talks to Miles on the phone and all that, and he's such a great side character. And again, they all just have this kind of similar energy to them that is really warm and comforting, and it's nice to have the story so centered around just this small tight-knit group of people like that. And of course, there are other aspects of the story that are very important, but I'm not going to go into that, just assuming that you might have not finished the game already. The game also isn't extremely long. If you just wanted to play the main story like immediately and avoid any other kind of side missions at all, you could probably get through it all in maybe 7 hours or so. But of course, there's so much more to do if you do take your time with it and go through the bigger side missions, and also these activities, which are basically these things that Miles is asked to do by civilians through this app. And it's a really fun way to earn tokens to unlock new suits and mods and gadgets and all of that. So yeah, you know, it's not a full 20 to 30 hour experience, or maybe even more than that you do get from the first game, but I don't think that's a huge problem. Yeah, it would have been nice if the price was like $39.99 instead of $49.99 because of that, but it's honestly nice of them to even take $10 off of it in the first place, because it would have been easy to just sell this as a full price game. Other PS5 games right now aren't even going for $60, so $70 kind of seems to be the standard now, maybe. I'm not too sure, so I don't know. I really just do think this game brings a lot of punch in the smaller amount of time, though. The map is still as big as the first, and all the fun is still there, of course, from just swinging around New York and beating up the bad guys with especially this electric punch that Miles gets that is seriously so cool to use. And I think this is just the perfect way to start off this next generation. I know a ton of people are super excited for Demon's Souls, and that's the one that they're going to be kicking things off with, and I can't wait to jump into that one next. But I had a blast with this one, and it completely brought back all those memories from not so long ago when I played through all of Spider-Man in one weekend. And you know, sure, I was able to beat this one in just one night, but that doesn't mean the game ends there. You know, I'm gonna go back to it for sure. I'd be surprised if they don't have some kind of DLC for it at some point, and I'll be all over that as soon as that happens, if that happens. But all in all, this is easily one of my favorite games of the year so far. I'm gonna go back to it for sure. I'm already thinking about some of those moments in the game that I can't wait to try again. And I played it on the fidelity setting, by the way. I do want to go and do it on performance to get that full 60 FPS. I just thought it looked really good on the 4K 30 FPS. I didn't really have a big problem with that. I know that's kind of going against what next gen is about, but I think that gives a perfect reason to play it again. And I'll go through that, try it with the 60 FPS, and see how that goes. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to make a video on Demon's Souls, or, you know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla just came out also, maybe even Watch Dogs Legion soon. You know, I would love to do those, but those are pretty long games, especially those first two. So I can't say for sure when or if those will happen, but I do have every intention on doing that. I will, however, probably be making videos on the Falconeer and the Pathless pretty soon, since those should be a bit easier to get through, and maybe even something like Sackboy or Bug Snacks. I'm just really excited to play anything next gen right now, as I'm sure all of you are too. Again, hopefully, if you were able to get one of the consoles, and I really hope that you were. I know it's tough to get one right now, but maybe with the holiday season, maybe some of you will get lucky and find one, or maybe they'll have a lot more in stock. Who knows? I really hope that there's, you know, some kind of nice Christmas spirit out there, and a lot of people get those consoles that they want. But yeah, that's all for this one. I hope you're all having a great day out there. Hope to see you in the next video, and until then, take care, everybody.